The first time Natalie touched my face, it was to push me behind a concrete pillar while scanning for the shooter everyone thought was in the crowd. Her hand was firm against my cheek, her body shielding mine, and in that split second of terror and adrenaline, all I could think about was how badly I wanted to kiss her. Not because I was grateful she'd just saved my life. Not because of the chaos surrounding us or the way my publicist was screaming into her phone. But because for 6 months I'd been pretending I didn't notice the way my heart raced every time Natalie walked into a room, the way I found excuses to be near her. The way I started living for the moments when her professional mask slipped and I got to see the real woman underneath. And in that moment, with gunshots echoing off buildings and her green eyes locked on mine, I knew I was completely, hopelessly in love with my bodyguard. Tell me where you're watching from. Drop your city in the comments below. And if you believe stories like mine deserve to be heard, please hit that subscribe button. Your support helps this channel reach more people who need to know they're not alone. My name is Vanessa Cole, and 2 years ago I was one of the most photographed women in America. Not because I'd done anything particularly remarkable, but because I'd married tech billionaire Marcus Whitfield when I was 24 and he was 43. The media called it a fairy tale. Vanessa, the struggling actress from Ohio who landed the ultimate role as Mrs. Whitfield, wife to one of the richest men in the country. What they didn't show was the reality. Marcus was controlling, paranoid, and emotionally distant. Our marriage was a business arrangement dressed up as romance, and I was suffocating. When death threats started arriving at our Malibu estate, Marcus hired personal security for me. That's how Natalie Rodriguez entered my life. She was 31, a former Marine with combat experience and 6 years working private security for high-profile clients. She had close-cropped dark hair, a scar above her left eyebrow from shrapnel, and a quiet intensity that made me feel simultaneously safe and completely unnerved. Our first meeting was in Marcus's office, a cold glass and steel room overlooking the Pacific. Natalie stood at attention while Marcus explained that she'd be accompanying me everywhere, evaluating all my public appearances, living in the guest house on our property for immediate response capability. Mrs. Whitfield, Natalie said, her voice low and professional. My job is to keep you safe. That means I need to know your schedule, your habits, anywhere you go and anyone you see. I know that feels invasive, but your safety depends on it. Please call me Vanessa. Mrs. Whitfield makes me feel like I'm someone's mother. Something flickered in her eyes, might have been amusement. Vanessa then. Marcus left us to get acquainted, and the moment the door closed, Natalie's posture relaxed infinitesimally. I read the threat assessments. Some of these are credible, which means we need to take this seriously. But I also want you to know that I'll do everything possible to minimize disruption to your life. My life is already disrupted, I said without thinking, then caught myself. Sorry, that was inappropriate. You'd be surprised how many clients feel that way. She gave me a small, understanding smile that transformed her face from stern professional to someone warm and real. This is scary and inconvenient. You're allowed to be frustrated. From that first day, Natalie became my shadow. She drove me to charity events, stood outside fitting rooms during shopping trips, sat in the back of yoga classes, checked every restaurant before I entered. At first, her presence felt suffocating. Just one more way Marcus controlled my life. But slowly, I began to appreciate the buffer she provided between me and the world's expectations. Natalie didn't treat me like Marcus's trophy or a fragile celebrity. She treated me like a person. She asked about my day, listened when I complained about superficial friends, recommended books she thought I'd enjoy. During long car rides, we talked about everything. She told me about growing up in San Diego, about her time in the Marines, about the brother she'd lost in Afghanistan. I told her about my failed acting career, about feeling trapped in a gilded cage, about the woman I'd been before I became Mrs. Whitfield. 3 months into her employment, something shifted between us. We were at a charity gala, one of those endless evenings where I smiled and made small talk while Marcus networked. I excused myself to the bathroom, Natalie following at her usual discreet distance. In the hallway, a drunk guest grabbed my arm, pulling me close, saying something crude about what Marcus's money could buy. Natalie had him against the wall in seconds, her forearm across his throat, her voice deadly calm. Touch her again and you'll need surgery to eat solid food. Understand? He nodded, terrified, and she released him. He scurried away, and Natalie turned to me, immediately professional again. Are you all right? Did he hurt you? I'm fine. Thank you. But my hands were shaking. She noticed. Let's get you somewhere quiet. She led me to a service hallway away from the crowd, and I leaned against the wall trying to steady my breathing. Natalie stood a respectful distance away, giving me space but staying alert. That was intense, I said finally. That was me doing my job. She paused. Though I should probably apologize for being aggressive, it won't happen again. Don't apologize. That man was disgusting, and you protected me. I felt safe with you. Something passed between us in that moment. An acknowledgement of something beyond the professional relationship we were supposed to have. Natalie looked away first. We should get back before Marcus wonders where you are. But after that night, I couldn't stop thinking about the way she defended me. The protective fury in her eyes, the gentleness in her voice when she asked if I was okay. I started noticing other things too. The way she smiled when she thought I wasn't looking. The way her hand would steady me when we navigated through crowds. The way she always made sure I was comfortable before she relaxed. I was attracted to her. Deeply, undeniably attracted to her. And I had no idea what to do about it. I'd never questioned my sexuality before. I'd dated men, married a man, assumed I was straight without really examining it. But now I found myself staring at Natalie's hands on the steering wheel, wondering what they'd feel like holding mine. I'd lie awake at night thinking about the way she moved, all controlled strength and quiet confidence. I'd catch myself creating excuses to need her, asking her opinion on outfits when I really just wanted to be near her. It terrified me. Not because she was a woman, but because wanting her meant admitting how unhappy I was in my marriage, how trapped I felt, how desperately I needed something real in a life built entirely on appearances. 5 months into Natalie's employment, Marcus went to Singapore for a week-long business conference. Natalie stayed with me at the estate, and for those 7 days, it felt like we were the only 2 people in the world. Without Marcus's oppressive presence, we both relaxed. We watched movies in the home theater, Natalie making fun of the terrible plots while I laughed harder than I had in years. We cooked dinner together in the massive kitchen, her teaching me her grandmother's recipes. We sat by the pool at night, talking under the stars, and I felt more myself than I had since the wedding. On the 6th night, we were in the pool house watching an old noir film. I'd had 2 glasses of wine, just enough to make me brave, and when Natalie laughed at a particularly ridiculous line, I turned to look at her and couldn't look away. What? She asked, catching me staring. You have a beautiful laugh. You don't do it enough. Her smile faded, replaced by something more serious. Vanessa, I need to tell you something. Okay. This job, being around you every day, it's become complicated for me. She took a breath. You're smart and kind and funny, and you deserve so much better than the life you're living. And I know I'm crossing a line even saying this, but I need you to know that my feelings for you have become more than professional. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely hear over it. Natalie, you don't have to say anything. I just needed to be honest. If you want me to request a replacement, I'll understand. I don't want a replacement. The words tumbled out before I could stop them. I want you. I've been wanting you for months and trying not to admit it because it's complicated and impossible and I'm married and you work for me. And there are 1,000 reasons this can't happen. But her eyes were locked on mine. But I can't keep pretending I don't feel this. She reached out slowly, giving me every opportunity to pull away, and tucked a strand of hair behind my ear. If we do this, everything changes. Your marriage, my job, your safety. Are you sure? I've never been less sure and more certain of anything in my life. Natalie kissed me then, soft and questioning, and I kissed her back with months of pent-up longing. Her lips were soft, her hands gentle on my face, and it felt like coming home after being lost for years. We pulled apart, both breathing hard, both knowing we'd just crossed a line we couldn't uncross. Marcus comes back tomorrow, I whispered. I know.
I can't go back to pretending.
Not after this.
Then don't. She took my hand.
Vanessa, I can protect you from external threats. But if you want to leave your marriage, if you want to build a different life, I'll help you.
But you have to be the one to make that choice. That night, I lay in my massive empty bed and made a decision. I was done living for Marcus, for the media, for everyone except myself.
I wanted out of my marriage. I wanted Natalie.
I wanted a life that was real, even if it meant losing everything else. The next morning, before Marcus returned, I met with a divorce attorney Natalie's colleague recommended. I started documenting everything, building my case, preparing to leave. Marcus's prenup was ironclad,
Which meant I'd walk away with almost nothing after 5 years of marriage, but I didn't care. Money couldn't buy what I'd found with Natalie.
For 2 months, Natalie and I conducted a secret relationship under Marcus's nose. We were careful, only showing affection when we were absolutely certain we were alone.
But the connection between us grew stronger every day.
She showed me what it meant to be loved by someone who saw me, really saw me, not the image I projected.
I learned about her dreams of opening a security firm for women escaping domestic violence, about her love of photography, about the tenderness under her tough exterior.
Then came the night that started this story, the charity event where someone in the crowd had a gun.
It turned out to be a false alarm, a photographer's camera mistaken for a weapon by jittery security. But in those terrifying moments when Natalie shielded me, when her hand pressed against my face and her body covered mine, I realized I couldn't wait any longer.
Life was too short,
too uncertain. That night, I told Marcus I wanted a divorce.
He was in his office, reviewing contracts, and barely looked up when I walked in.
Marcus, we need to talk.
Can it wait? I'm in the middle of something.
No, it can't. I sat down across from him. I want a divorce. That got his attention.
He set down his pen, his expression cold. Excuse me? I'm not happy.
I haven't been happy for a long time.
This marriage isn't working, and I want out.
This is about that bodyguard, isn't it?
His voice was ice.
I've seen the way you look at her.
I'm not an idiot, Vanessa. This is about me.
About the fact that I've spent 5 years being someone I'm not, living a life I don't want. Yes, Natalie is part of it, but she's not the reason. She just helped me remember who I was before I became your wife. You're throwing away everything for some lesbian fantasy?
I'm choosing myself. Maybe for the first time ever. Marcus stood, his face flushed with anger. You'll get nothing. The prenup is clear. You leave, you walk away with whatever you brought into this marriage, which if I recall was basically nothing.
I don't want your money, Marcus.
I want my life back.
He laughed, bitter and cruel. Fine, leave, but don't come crawling back when reality hits. And you realize you gave up a fortune for someone who, guess, going to get bored and move on. I stood, feeling lighter than I had in years.
Goodbye, Marcus. I found Natalie in the security office, monitoring the property cameras. When I told her what I'd done, she pulled me into her arms. Are you okay? She asked. I'm perfect. Scared, but perfect. Where will you go?
I don't know yet.
But wherever it is, I hope you'll come with me. She pulled back to look at me. Vanessa, you need to be sure about this. About us.
You're ending your marriage. Giving up everything.
I need to know you won't regret it. The only thing I'd regret is not trying. Natalie, I love you. I'm in love with you. And I want to build a life with you wherever that leads. I love you too. She kissed me. This time we didn't have to hide. But I can't work for Marcus anymore. Conflict of interest aside,
I want to punch him for the way he treated you. Then quit.
We'll figure it out together.
The next few months were chaotic.
The divorce was ugly, with Marcus using every resource to paint me as an unfaithful gold digger. The media had a field day when they discovered I'd left him for my female bodyguard.
Paparazzi camped outside the modest apartment Natalie and I rented. My mother called crying, saying I'd embarrassed the family.
Former friends stopped returning my calls.
But through it all, Natalie never wavered.
She held me when I cried, celebrated small victories in the legal battle, reminded me why we were doing this.
We built a quiet life together, away from the spotlight. I went back to acting, getting small roles in independent films with directors who cared more about talent than tabloid drama. Natalie started her security firm, specializing in protecting women leaving dangerous situations. A year after I left Marcus, our divorce was finalized. I walked away with nothing but my freedom, and it was worth it.
2 years later, Natalie proposed to me on a quiet beach in Oregon. Far from cameras and crowds, just the two of us and the life we'd built together.
Looking back, I don't regret any of it. Not the scandal, not the money I gave up, not the relationships that ended. Because I gained something infinitely more valuable. I gained myself. I gained love that's real and honest. I gained a partner who sees me as a person, not a possession. If you've ever had to choose between comfortable and authentic,
If you've ever loved someone the world said you shouldn't, I want to hear your story.
tell me in the comments where you're watching from and what this story meant to you. And please subscribe to help these stories reach the people who desperately need to know that choosing yourself is always worth it.
Thank you for being here, for listening, for believing that love deserves honesty. You're not alone.